linear equation using augmented matrix. So let us recall that in this process, we need to compute augmented matrix for the systems of linear equation. Okay, and then we perform, okay, to the augmented matrix, we perform some elementary row operations to produce either matrix in the form of REF or matrix in the form of REF. Okay, and the method we used to transform an augmented matrix to the form of REF is called Gaussian elimination. That's a method that will give us some steps. And alternatively, we may change the augmented matrix to a matrix in the form of RREF, and we are going to use Gauss-Jordan elimination. Okay, why do we need to transform augmented matrix to this form of matrices? That because we are going to solve systems of linear equation for the new matrices to obtain solution for the augmented matrix. So in the previous lecture, the last part, we looked at Gaussian elimination. I'm not sure Gauss-Jordan elimination, but I did that quite fast in speedy because I thought we are running out of time. But so today I am going to repeat Gaussian elimination and Gauss-Jordan elimination method. Okay. So step by step in Gaussian elimination. Okay. The aim or the purpose of Gaussian elimination is to perform elementary row operations. Okay, remember there are 3 elementary row operations. We have to perform this operation on the augmented matrix to reduce or to transform the matrix into a very special form. We call it as reduced excellent form, or REF in short. Okay, so steps in Gauss elimination, starting with step 1. First, we look at the matrix. We identify the leftmost column. We look at column by column. We look at column by column. We look at we are identifying leftmost column that does not consist entirely of zeros. Okay, let's say if this is this in this let's say in that column every entries are 0, so we skip that. So we identify a matrix, we identify a column that's not all 0. Let's say we have A here, which is not 0. So that's the column. Okay. And then, okay, at the column, let's say this is the column, which is the first column on the left that not consists entirely of zeros. We are going to do something to the entry in this column. We have to produce leading 1 at the top of the column by performing some elementary row operations. You are free to choose what elementary row operations you want to do to produce leading 1 at the top of the column. Okay. And in step 2, in step 2, we perform elementary row operation to produce 0 at all entries under the leading 1. Okay, so remember, let's say this is the column. We got leading one from step 1. And then in the steps 2, we have to change all entries under 1 as zeros. Is there anything wrong? Is there anything wrong? If not, give me thumbs up. Is there anything wrong? Anyone? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
I think everything is okay. It's just, Professor, you opened several meetings in the same time, so some people enter the wrong meeting and there is no voices in the meeting. And I'm trying to send the correct meeting link to them to make sure they are in the correct meeting.
Thank you very much. So the same thing happened again.
Yes.
The same thing happened again. It's quite frustrating. Okay, so this is our. So we are currently. So where should I go? We can't hear your voice because you can't hear my voice. Okay.
I think in the meeting with 34 people, there is voice, and the meeting with 15 people, and there is no voice, and we can just close this one.
Okay,
and
good.
People
good.
enter the.
Let me. Thank you very much. Let me make. Okay. Several meetings. 2, I think. Okay. And I am in the meeting with. We are meeting with 37. 37. Those who in the meeting with 15 members, I think, and without my voice, please leave that meeting and join the other meeting. This is so frustrating. Okay. Okay. I think they got that. They are in the process of changing the meeting room. Okay. So let us continue because this is a recording. I think they will be able to refer to the recording later on. Okay. In step 2, we are changing every element here, every entry below 1 to become zeros. Okay, that's in step 2. Again, which one of the elementary row operations you want to use, it's up to you. As long as we are able to change the entries under leading 1 to become 0. However, in the normal practice, the best practice, we have specified one of the elementary row operations. We're going to look at that later on in the example. Okay, and in step 3, okay. Okay, so now imagine we have a matrix. After we done step 1 and step 2, we are going to have a column that have leading 1, and we are going to have a column with leading 1, and everything else under leading 1 are all zeros. Okay, so in the third step, we are going to cover the top row with leading 1. We cover, or you may say we delete. We simply delete the row. Yeah, we simply delete or cover up the whole row with the leading 1, and we have remaining matrix. Okay, so here is remaining matrix, and we are going to do something to the remaining matrix. We repeat step 1 in the previous step. We repeat step 1 applied to the remaining submatrix. That means we are going to find the first leftmost column that's not consist entirely of zeros. Okay, and then we identify the leftmost column that does not consist of zero, and then produce leading 1, and then produce leading 1 at the top of the identified column. Okay, is that clear? Okay, and begin step 2 again, which is after we get the leading 1, the second leading 1, then we are going to perform some elementary row operations to produce 0 entries under the new leading 1. And then we repeat the same process. We cover the column, we cover the row with the leading 1, and then we start step 1 and step 2 again. We do that until we have produced a matrix in row echelon form. Okay, following all of these steps, which are repeating same procedure, step 1 and step 2, we are going to end up to a matrix in the form of row echelon form. Okay, row echelon form, REF. Okay, that was a Gauss elimination for REF. Okay, remember there is one difference between REF and RREF. RREF means reduce. So we have to reduce more. We have to do something more to get RREF. Okay, I remember for RREF augmented matrix, okay, there is one extra properties to be satisfied by the matrix to be in the form of RREF. Therefore, in Gauss-Jordan elimination, to produce RREF form, we need extra steps. But we start off with Gauss elimination, which means we start with step 1 to step 5 until we produce REF form. Okay, and let me recall that the difference between RREF and REF is the property number 4. Okay, property number 4. Property number 4 or characterization number 4 for RREF is we look at every column. Okay, and then we identify leading 1. Let's say that's leading 1 for that column. In the property 4 of RREF form, okay, the other entries in that column must be zeros. Okay, must be zeros. Okay, so if we stop at the previous step in cost elimination, we are not going to have this property 4. So to get property 4, we add some steps. We add some steps. Okay, so we start with step 1 until step 5 to get REF matrix. Okay, then in step 6, the extra step, at the last non-zero row, and we working upward, identify leading one and perform elementary row operation of each row above to produce zero above the leading one. Okay, in step 6, okay, here is our matrix. In step 6, at the last non-zero row, let's say we have all zeros here, and then here is the last non-zero row. We identify, since they are not zeros, the entries of this row is not all zero, so leading one must exist. Leading one must exist because only a matrix without zero, only a row with all zeros doesn't contain leading one. So we identify leading one in that row, and then okay, we look at the column which consists the leading one, and it says here, working upward from bottom to going to up, going to the top, we have to change all entries above 1 to become 0. Okay, that in step 6. Okay, that is step 6. And step 7, cover that zero, the zero that we identified in step 6, and repeat step 6 to the remaining submatrix. We do the same until the matrix is reduced to a matrix in the form of RREF. Okay? Okay. Gaussian elimination, and the same goes to Gauss-Jordan elimination, may seem complicated. These methods may seem complicated and tricky if we look at the steps. But trust me, with enough practices, trying to solve, transform any matrix into the RREF or REF. Okay, with enough practice, it becomes easier, and some found that it's enjoyable. Okay, so believe me. Okay. So for the first example, we have a augmented matrix. Okay, we are going to perform some operations in the steps of Gaussian elimination to have REF form. Okay, so in the step 1, what is the step 1? We have to Step 1. Identify the leftmost column that does not consist entirely of 0. Yeah, okay. So, in the step 1, we have to identify the first column from the left that does not contain entirely of zeros. That's the column. Okay, and after identify the column, we have to change the entries at the top to become leading one. Okay, so 0 have to be 1. That leftmost non-zero column. Okay, you may use elementary row operation number 3. Okay, but in this solution, I first start with elementary row operation 2, which is interchange the top row with another row. Okay, I change top row with second row. So R1 prime means that the new row number 1 is the old row number 2, and the new row 2 primes mean new. Okay, primes, the symbols means new. Row number 2, new row number 2 is row number 1. We change row 1 to row 2, and row 2 become row 1. So we have this matrix. Remember that our aim is to get leading one in the circle place, in the circle the allocation. So we want to make 2 become 1. So how to do that? We have to divide or multiply with half, right? So that is why I use elementary row operation number 1, which multiply row number 1 with half. So I got that. So now we have the first column where the top entry of that column consists of leading 1. Okay, now we have leading 1 in row 1. In row 1. Okay. Okay, and in the second step, we perform some elementary row operations to produce 0 at all entries under the leading 1. So that is done. For the second row, we have entry 0 under leading 1, but at the last row, the entry 2, we have to do something to it to change 2 into 1. Okay, remember we in our tradition or in normal practice, to change 2 to become 0, we are going to use elementary row operation number 3 with the help of row 1, with the help of row that consists leading 1. How to do that? Okay, since we have leading 1 here, we multiply the first row with -2, right? We multiply the whole row with -2 and then add up to the row 3. Okay, multiply row 1 with -2, then add to the row 3. So now we have changed 0 to 2. Okay, so we have to perform that to all entries in the row number 3. Okay, so every entries in row number 3 is going to change. Okay. Now all entries below the leading 1 here becomes 0. Okay. And step 3, we cover the top row with leading 1. Remember, we have leading 1 here. Okay, we cover the top row with leading 1, or we simply delete the row. And we have remaining matrix. Here is remaining matrix, or you may call sub matrix. Okay, and we repeat step 1. In step 1, we have to identify the first column from the left that does not consist entirely of zeros. Okay, this column are all zeros, the same to the second column. So the column that we want to identify is the column number 3. Okay, the leftmost non-zero column in the submatrix. Okay, remember, in the step 1, what we have to do is we look at the top entry of that column. We look at the top entry at the column. We want to change it to leading 1. So we are going to change -2 to 1. Okay. If the entry is not 0, we are not in normal practice. What we are going to do is simply multiply with 1 over that entry. Okay, and then we are going to get 1. Okay, so multiply row 2 with -half to produce lead 1. Okay, so we do that to the whole row. We do that to the whole row. So now we get the leading 1 that we aim for. Okay, that's in step 1. And okay, now we have leading 1 in the first row of the remaining submatrix. And in the step 3, we are going to change entry under leading 1 to become 0. Again, in this step, the normal practice is we are going to use elementary row operation number 3 by the help of row 1, or you may call row 2. Row 2. Here is row 2. Why? Because row 2 consists of leading 1. How to do that? We are going to multiply row 2 with -5, right? And then plus row 1, plus row 3. So this is row 3 new, right? Okay, so we are going to have 0. Okay, we do that to the whole row. We do that to the whole row. Why do we need to use row number 3? Because if you choose other elementary row operations, this number will change to non-zero number. But if we using row number 3, 0 entries here will stay 0. Will stay to be 0. Okay, so remember we use elementary row operation number 3. That's our normal practice. Okay, so that it is. And then in the next step, we cover the row that consists leading 1. Okay, we cover that. So we are looking for column that consists entirely of zeros. So this is the column. Okay, column which has only one row. And what we have to do in step 1, at the top of the column, okay, which is half, we have to change it to 1. And to do that, since the entry is not 0, what we have to do is we are going to use elementary row operation number 1, which is 2 times row 3, right? Okay, and then then we are going to have 1. Okay, we are going to have 1. So now the matrix is now in row echelon form. You may check that this matrix satisfies all three properties of three properties of row echelon form. Okay, and we are done. Okay, so guys, someone might use a different elementary row operations and also end up with row echelon form matrix, but the matrix might be a little bit different. A matrix might be a little bit different, but that's okay as long as you perform the elementary row operation correctly, and finally you end up with REF form, even if the last row echelon form is not similar to any other student. That is okay, but you are going to get similar solution. Okay, remember that there are some matrices where the solution for the correspond systems of linear equation is going to be similar. Okay, is that clear? Give me thumbs up. Give me thumbs up if everything's clear. Okay. Is everything clear, guys?
Clear. Thank you.
Yeah. If there is no response, I'm worried if my concern if I lost in the meeting. Okay, so I need some response. Right, thank you. Right, so in this example, we are going to look at similar augmented matrix, but now we want to transform to reduce row echelon form, RREF. Therefore, we are going to use Gauss-Jordan elimination. In Gauss-Jordan elimination, the methods start off with Gaussian elimination, which is we must follow step 1 until step 5 to produce REF matrix. Okay, so from the previous example, in the Gaussian elimination method, we already produced REF augmented matrix. Okay, so this is REF from the previous example. Okay, and in the step 6 of Gauss-Jordan elimination, we are going to identify the last non-zero row, the last or the bottom non-zero row, which is this row. Okay, which is this row, and we are going to working upward. Means we have to work on the column. We have to work on the column of what we are going to do is identify the last non-zero row, and as usual, we have to identify leading one. We have to identify leading one in that row, and then we have to work on the column. Okay, column 1 with leading one. We are going to perform some elementary row operations to produce 0 above the leading one. So above the leading one is this entry and another entry. So we are going to change these two numbers into 2 become 0. Okay. Again, normal practice is we are going to use row 3 by the help of row 3. Why do we choose row 3? Because row 3 has leading 1. Okay. Use elementary row operation number 3 by the help of row number 3. Okay. Let's say I want to change on row 2. Okay. So let's say we start to aim to change that number into 0. So what we are going to do is by the help of row 3, okay, we multiply by 7/2, right? And then we add to row number 2. Okay, so we do that on row 2. Row 3 we multiply with 7/2 and add up to row number 2, and the new row number 2 now become 0. Now it's become 0. Okay, we do the same to the entry 6. We perform we perform elementary row operation number 3 by multiply row 3 with -6. Okay, we multiply row 3 with -6. Why did we choose row 3? Because row 3 consists of leading 1. Okay, and then we have zeros. Okay, and then we cover the row with the leading 1 and repeat step 6 again. Okay, so we are finding the first from the bottom. I don't remember the statement. I don't remember the statement of step 6. Sorry guys. Okay. Identify. Sorry. Where is the statement? Here. Last non-zero row and last non-zero row. Step 6. Okay. Where did we stop? Sorry guys, which number of slide? We stopped just now. In this example, right? Okay. We stop here, right? We are identifying the first row from the bottom. That not consists entirely of zeros, right? So, okay, here is the row that's not consists entirely of zeros. And first we have to identify leading 1. We have to identify leading 1. So you may see that there are 2 1s here. But leading 1 is the first non-zero entry. So that's the leading 1. Okay. So we look at the column which contained the leading 1. And then we want to change the entry above leading 1 to become 0. Okay, we do that by using elementary row operation number, row operation number 3. Okay, where we are going to multiply row 2 with 5. Right? Okay, so we multiply row 2 with 5 and then add up to row 1. So the new row 1 is as follows. Okay. So the new right, the number above leading 1 is now 0. Okay, in reduced row echelon. Okay. Now we are already in reduced row echelon form. Right? Remember, in the fourth property of a reduced row echelon form, we look at column which consists leading 1. We look at each column which consists leading 1. In the property number 4, it says that the other entries of the column, the other entries of the column must be zeros. So in these 3 columns, the other entries are all zeros, and we are done. Now we are in, the matrix is in reduced row echelon form. Okay? Is that clear? We still have about 50 minutes. Is that clear?
Clear, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. All right. The method, this step seems complicated, right? Okay. You actually in answering this kind of question, you don't have to write this. You don't have to write this, but it is enough to make to use this statement. Okay, so if I rewrite the step, it is going to be like this. We write steps in producing RREF augmented matrix. We just have to write the steps. Okay, that's mean by following elementary row operation number 2, interchanging 2 rows, we are going to have this. And then we perform this, we got this. We perform this, get this. Okay, so here is how we write in solving that kind of question. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear? I guess yes. Okay. Okay. So now we did until this, right? Everything else is done, right? What left at the last step is we have to solve the new systems of linear equation with the REF or RREF augmented matrix, okay, to obtain solution for the original systems of linear equation. Okay. Okay. What I want to say is, remember that now, first we have the augmented matrix of S, L, E. And then we perform Gauss-Jordan, let's say Gauss-Jordan elimination. To have now RREF matrix. Okay, so this matrix, sorry, gone. It's okay. Let me write here. Okay. So we start off with augmented matrix, and then we perform, let's say, Gauss-Jordan elimination. Okay. And then now we have RREF matrix. Okay. Let's call this as new matrix. Let's call RREF matrix is a new matrix which is different to augmented matrix. Okay, these two matrices are different, but they are row equivalents. They are row equivalents. So by using this RREF matrix, we are going to get corresponding systems of linear equation. Okay, from RREF, we are going to get a new systems of linear equation corresponding to the RREF, and then we are going to solve it. Solve systems of linear equation. Okay, you get the solution, and the solution of the new systems of linear equation is similar to the solution of the original systems of linear equation. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we recap some statements at the beginning of the lecture where systems of linear equation is either inconsistent or consistent. Remember, in general, every systems of linear equation is either inconsistent or consistent. Inconsistent means that it has no solution. Consistent means that it has some solution. Okay. For the case of consistent systems of linear equation, it is either has a unique solution. That means only one solution. Or if it has more than one solution, then it must have infinitely many solutions. Okay. And remember that for infinitely many solutions, there must exist free variables. Must have free variables. Okay. Free variables, let's say variable y. Okay. Free variable is a variable that, let's say y, it might be x, z, or x1, x2, or xn, but let's say variable y. Free variables means that in the solution, y is equal to the parameter t, where t is any real numbers. So has variables with parameters. Might be only one variable, might be more. Okay, so whenever free variable exists, then the system has infinitely many solutions. So the solution set is kind of where t is in R. If there is more parameters, we have more parameters. That for infinitely many solution. For unique solution, okay, the set is consists of only one element. Okay, the number of components of the element is depending on the number of variables. Okay, is that clear? Thumbs up if you do. Okay. Okay. remember that the term row equivalence means that you have two matrices, you perform some rows to get matrix A to matrix B. A is not equal to B, right? Because the entries are different. There are some entries that are different, but A and B is row equivalence. A and B is row equivalence. Okay. Okay. Then, okay. Remember, we have three systems of linear examples. We have examples of three systems of linear equation. And these three systems of linear equations, their augmented matrices are A, B, and C respectively. Remember, that's for systems of linear equation number 1, systems of linear equation number 2, and systems of linear equation number 3. Right? And we notice that SLE1, the matrix A is not RREF and also not REF. And the matrix B is REF. And the matrix C is RREF. And the solution for these systems of linear equation is straightforward. Okay, straightforward. Where x is equal to 5, x is equal to 5, y is equal to -2, and z is equal to 4. Okay, and in systems of linear equation number 2, we have to do something. We have to do something. Okay, but that's not very difficult. You can do that quite straightforward, obviously, to get the solution. But the solution is similar to the solution. And so the solution of systems of linear equation is the solution of these two systems of linear equations. Right? Here. The statement says that row equivalent matrices have corresponding systems of linear equations with similar solution. Okay, so that's why these systems of linear equation SLE1, SLE2, and SLE3 has similar solution because the corresponding augmented matrix are row equivalents. Okay. Okay, we call that we can solve systems of linear. We can solve SLE for C. That's for that's for SLE3. Okay. That's for SLE2. We can solve it easily as the matrix are in row echelon form. Okay. Therefore, to solve systems of linear equation for A, which means SLE1, we use Gaussian elimination or Gauss-Jordan elimination to change A into B or C and solve the systems of linear equation directly. Okay. Is that clear? We still have 2 minutes. 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Okay. So, another example. Solve the following systems of linear equation with the following augmented matrix. Okay. It doesn't give us the systems of linear equation, but it gives us augmented matrix instead. Okay. But notice that these augmented matrix are already in RREF. So the solution is x1 is equal to 5, x2 is equal to minus 2, and x3 is equal to 4, right? You simply multiply 1 with 1 equal to 5, and etc. Is that clear? In this part, is everything clear? How do we get this solution?